It's the 2021 edition of the Practical Nigerian Content, the 10th in the series by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, taking place in the Bayelsa State Capital, Yenagoa. The event was highly attended by key industry stakeholders in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, as well as top government officials and investors. I'm Ehi-Omoike. This year's edition is coming a few months after the decade-long Petroleum Industry Act came to life, after almost 20 years. Over the next hour, these stakeholders will discuss how to harness the opportunities in Nigeria's Petroleum Industry Act.
May I at this point, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invite a man who is bringing his over 30 years experience in the industry to bear in his job as the Managing Director of the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited and Country Chair, Shell Companies in Nigeria. Ehi-Omoike, please put your hands together for this fine gentleman.
I feel particularly honored for the privilege of delivering the industry address at this remarkable milestone event. In the 10 years of this annual occurrence, the Practical Nigerian Content Forum has grown in leaps and bounds to become a must-attend event where pertinent issues and untapped opportunities bordering on Nigerian content growth and implementation are discussed. A lot of credit must go to the Executive Secretary and members of the NCDMB community for constantly building on the successes of the previous editions to deliver additional value at each succeeding edition of the summit. In 2020, we celebrated with the NCDMB on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the enactment of the NOGIC Act. And frankly, the successes of this act in just 11 years is exceptionally commendable. Many strides have been made in developing domestic capacity in the country, and there are so many success stories to that effect. Let me just share a few examples. The Egina project executed by TotalEnergies was attested to by the NCDMB to have realized over 50% in Nigerian content, setting new industry benchmarks for a project of its size and magnitude. Egina enabled the domiciliation of new capacities and facilities in country, one of which is the FPSO integration facility located at the Ladol Free Zone. This feat by TotalEnergies added to the pool of jobs in country and enabled capital retention. We are all challenged, of course, to meet and even better these levels in upcoming projects such as with the Nigerian LNG Train 7 and other deepwater projects in the horizon, including Shell's Bonga North and Bonga Southwest projects. SPDC Limited in 2016 spent over 2 billion naira in the construction, upgrade, and provision of equipment for the Nigerian Institute of Welding, NIW, in a bid to enhance welding technology in country. With this investment, the Institute is now able to perform destructive and non-destructive testing of materials in Nigeria. Another laudable project was the establishment of 3 world-class pipe mills in country for the manufacture of helical submerged arc welded line pipes. This was a first in Nigeria. ExxonMobil Upstream and its affiliates have since 2006 supported the training of unemployed Nigerian engineers through its Engineering Capability Development Program. This program has enabled the acquisition of project-based engineering skills, allowing young graduates to acquire relevant training suitable for gainful employment. On its own part, the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company JV is working with the NCDMB to provide a 15 megawatts power station for electricity to the Nigerian Oil and Gas Park scheme. Chevron's Human Capacity Development Program, which is focused on dynamic positioning training, is another commendable effort in building domestic capacity. With the 5-year scholarships it provides for this training, Chevron has successfully trained over 172 Nigerian seamen. The launch of a $200 million Nigerian Content Intervention Fund managed for the NCDMB by the Bank of Industry is another very commendable initiative set up to boost the financial capacity of indigenous companies with loans at very attractive interest rates, which by extension reduces overall project costs. It is important to also recognize the successes from indigenous service companies. For example, Damalong Nigeria fabricated the first pressure vessel in country for the Baran Ubie project. K Global, another indigenous service company, is manufacturing fire retardant coveralls in Delta and River states. High-quality, locally manufactured low and high voltage cables, which are now made by Coleman Cables, Mecom Nigeria, and Cable Meta, are also worthy of mention. These examples are just a few of the giant Nigerian content strides that have been made across the industry in the last decade. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, whilst we celebrate 11 years of Nigerian Content Act and 10 years of the Practical Nigerian Content Forum, we must not lose sight of the existing challenges that hamper the effective delivery of our Nigerian content aspirations. I am, however, convinced that with your collaborative efforts, we can deliver an industry value addition model that is worthy of replication globally. The theme of this year's event, Driving Nigerian Content in the New Dawn of the Petroleum Industry Act, is a truly apt and well-timed theme, given the overarching impact of the Act on the industry and the entire energy value chain in Nigeria. I am therefore looking forward to the in-depth and detailed conversations and discussions that will take place here over the course of the next few days. I implore us all to fully engage, striving for honest conversations and strategic thinking as we discuss pertinent Nigerian content dilemmas and challenges. I have no doubt that the outcomes of this forum will provide useful insights for emerging policies and industry guidelines. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osagi Okubo, Managing Director of SPDC and Chairman Shell Companies in Nigeria. Please join me in welcoming our game changer. I've been told now he is of a warrior tribe. His name means truth. So everything is coming together as I now know why he's excelling. Welcome, Simbi Monsucceed, ESNCDMB Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote, FNSE.
The PNC is one of the key communication platforms that the board uses to engage our stakeholders on our activities. Since the launch of our 10-year strategic roadmap in 2018, we have utilized the Practical Nigerian Content event to share our report card on the status of our journey to 70% Nigerian content in the oil and gas industry. The theme for this year's event is Driving Nigerian Content in the New Dawn of the Petroleum Industry Act. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to use this opportunity to once again congratulate the distinguished members of both chambers of the National Assembly and my boss, the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, and by extension, His Excellency, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFRO, for their role in ensuring that Petroleum Industry Act became a reality. The PIA 2021 has further reinforced the role of NCDMB in the oil and gas industry, and we are poised to fully utilize the opportunity provided to drive minimum benefits for our country. For those who have not had time to read copiously the PIA, If you turn to some of the sections, if I remember them, some of it is 309 and also section 12, I think, article A or F, you will see the reinforcement of the activities of NCDMB. An example is that going forward, for every field development plan that you develop for the Upstream Commission, you must first get an approval from local content to ensure that local content is taken into consideration before you proceed with your field development plan. As you may recall, the NCDMB 10-year strategic roadmap is built on 5 pillars and 4 enablers. The pillars are technical capability development, compliance and enforcement, enabling business environment, organizational capability, and sectorial and regional market linkages, while the enablers are funding, regulatory environment, collaboration and stakeholder engagement, research and statistics. Each of the pillars and enablers is backed by initiatives which are aimed at achieving the 70% Nigerian content level in the oil and gas industry by the year 2027. This year's marked the 4th year of the journey since commencement in 2018. Permit me to provide you, therefore, updates on each of these pillars and enablers, as well as our target against next year. Starting with our technical capability development pillar, we promised during the 2019 towards the end edition to progress work on our NOGAPs, provide sea-time training for Marine cadets, upgrade vocational educational centers, set up ICT laboratories, train 1,000 teachers in STEM education, and commissioning the 5,000 barrels Walter Smith Modular Refinery in Imo State. These were our promise in 2019. It therefore gives me great pleasure to highlight that we delivered on the 5,000 barrels Walter Smith Modular Refinery, as well as recall it was commissioned by Mr. President in November 2020. Another modular refinery, the 2,500 barrels DuPont Modular Refinery, situated at Igboko in Edo State, is also scheduled for commissioning by end of this year. Construction works have progressed at the NOGAP sites in Bayelsa and in Cross River State in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. The following structures at the sites have been handed over or nearing completion: the access gate and security house, internal road network completed with conduits for power cables, street lights, and car parks, administrative building for office, site clinic, control room, and other support services, capacity training center complete with classrooms and 200-seater amphitheater, hostel building for residential training and capacity building events, blocks of flats for resident factory managers, fire station building with watchtower, water and sewage treatment plants, pipeline distribution network for water, diesel, effluent, sewage, and compressed air, manufacturing shop with adjacent warehouses. Apart from these, the engineering design and site preparation works have been completed for the sites in Akwa Ibom and Imo State. We also added Delta and Ondo states to our NOGAPS project site in the last 2 years, thus bringing the number of states under coverage to 6. Little wonder, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria last week paid a visit to our Ehi-Omoike Industrial Park to see things for himself. And I guess if there is a video of his comment, it will be reeled where we was overtly impressed at the stage of work at the industrial park. The industrial parks in Cross River and Bayelsa State are scheduled to be commissioned in the 4th quarter of next year, 2022. One of the key requirements to commence operation is the provision of reliable power generation and distribution. I am therefore pleased to announce that we have concluded arrangement with Gas Aggregation Company of Nigeria Limited, GACN, and Infini Power Limited for provision of reliable power to the 2 industrial parks next year. The collaboration agreement for the provision of power will be signed tomorrow, 1st December 2021. Let me seize this opportunity to call on interested parties to please take up plots, as available plots are limited and they are disappearing fast in terms of people wanting to anchor within the industrial park. Human capacity development, we have facilitated Sea-Time International Experience for Marine Cadets and commissioned vocational education institutes at Abak in Akwa Ibom State and at Amoli in Enugu State. As part of efforts aimed at achieving gas development in line with Mr. President's declaration of a decade of gas, we have focused for some of our initiatives and partnerships on the gas sector. In collaboration with Rongas, we are currently constructing a 1.2 million units per annum capacity LPG composite cylinder manufacturing plant in Bayelsa and Lagos State. The factory acceptance test of the equipment is in progress as I speak. We are also collaborating with Chimots to build a 5,000 metric ton LPG loading and receiving terminal in Koko in Delta State. We teamed up with Butane Energy Limited to build LPG storage bottling plants and LPG depots in Kaduna, Bauchi, Katsina, Kano, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Gombe, Zamfara, Jigawa, and Abuja. As I speak, on Saturday this week, we will be commissioning that plant in Katsina State. Also, in partnership with Brash Fertilizer, we are developing a 10,000 tons per day methanol production facility at the Brass Island in Bayelsa State. Part of our long-time initiative under the 10-year roadmap is to develop a shipyard in Nigeria. We have completed feasibility study of the Brass Island shipyard, which confirms the technical and commercial viability of the project. Site selection study, bathymetric survey, and geophysical survey have been completed, while the environmental impact assessment study is currently ongoing in readiness to commence FEED study first quarter next year. The shipyard will be implemented in 2 phases, starting with ship repairs and maintenance, while the second phase will cater for shipbuilding. Our focus for year 2020 under the technical capability development pillars are as follows: commissioning and commence operation at No-Gap site in Emeyal, Bayelsa State, and Odukpani in Cross River State. Complete the engineering design of the Brass shipyard and embark on roadshow to secure much-needed investment for the construction activities. Commission the 2,000 barrels Atlantic Modular Refinery in Brass. Commission the 400,000 per year raw gas composite cylinder manufacturing plant in Polako in Bayelsa State. Commission the 48,000 liters per day Brass oil-based plant, oil-based production plant located in Omagua in Rivers State, and also commission the 30 million scopes per day Nedo gas processing plant and the 300 million scopes per day gas hub tied to the OB3 pipeline in Kwale, Delta State. Progress our HCD interventions in institutions of learning, vocational centers, ICT centers in secondary schools, and others. On the second pillar, compliance and enforcement, our commitment in the year 2019 was to roll out a local content implementation recognition program and implement the harmonized framework for marine vessel categorization across agencies. Between year 2020 and now, we were able to do the following: collaborate with NIMASA. NIWA is on fast track with the formation of a subcommittee to drive the areas of synergies. We have developed a new guideline for marine vessel categorization model and have commenced issuance of the Nigerian Content Marine Vessel Certificate. The forensic audit of the NCDF remittances in the period 2010 to 2017 has been largely completed with significant recoveries. While I commend the disposition of most of the operators, and service companies to clean up their books. I employ those still stalling about closeout of the forensic audit exercise to do the needful to prevent imposition of regulatory sanctions. In the year 2022, our focus for the compliance and enforcement pillar is to increase our monitoring coverage over the oil and gas industry. We will drive the closeout of undisputed and disputed remittances and apply necessary sanctions where applicable. We will commence phase 2 of the forensic audit of the NCDF remittances covering the period 2018 to 2020. With respect to the third pillar, enabling business environment, our promises were to conduct an annual stakeholder survey, enter strategic partnerships to provide accommodation services in Yenagoa to support our office and conference facilities. We indeed sent out surveys to our stakeholders with 86% of the respondents satisfied with our services. We have put in place modalities to sustain the activities that got us this pass mark while working on other areas of improvement to get closer to the 100% pass mark. We held the Customer Service Week 2 weeks ago and also launched our Service Charter. This is part of our commitment to ensure that our service delivery to our stakeholders will meet and even exceed their experiences. Still under the enabling business environment pillar, the board has acquired land for the construction of 200-room NCDMB conference hostel accommodation for delegates and guests. Let us thank His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, who without hesitation granted us the certificate of occupancy to address this challenge that we face. So while you come out of the NCDMB premises on your right, you will see work activities currently ongoing for that accommodation hostel. One of the key challenges that we face anytime we organize conferences are that we don't have enough hotel accommodation in Bayelsa State. If we do, we don't have enough hotel that meets the standard of oil and gas operatives in terms of safety and all its requirements. So NCDMB, in collaboration with the state government, is poised to address that challenge. It is a fact that calendar of conferences hosted by NCDMB is getting busy with events such as the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, the NCDMB Research and Development Fair, and Conference African Local Content Roundtable, Nigerian Content Managers Workshops, Women in Oil and Gas Conferences, and others, in addition to what the state government does in terms of its conferences and events. With the deep opening of the Bayelsa State Airport by the Bayelsa State government, it is only logical that we put in place a decent conference hostel to further enrich the experience of our conference participation in Bayelsa State. I am happy to report that we have commenced the site preparation works and we have selected an architectural design from the outcome of our design competition. In the coming year, we intend to meet the expectation of our stakeholders. We will also commence construction of the accommodation to mark events such as the very convenience for us to attend conferences in Bayelsa State. In the coming year, we intend to implement modalities to extend the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund to the manufacturing sector. We have launched the $50 million Research and Development Fund for basic research, commercialization, university endowments, and centers of excellence. On the second enabler, regulatory environment, we have obtained approval for 7 ministerial regulations. These have since been gazetted in February 2021. Next year, we will also work closely with the Nigerian Content Committee in the Senate and the House on the amendment of the NOGIC Act. With regards to collaboration and stakeholder engagement, our commitment was to implement actions for NCCF retreat and the Women in Oil and Gas workshop. I am happy to say that we have set up 2 additional sectorial working groups, which are the Diversity Sectorial Working Group, to cater for the interest of the women in oil and gas. That's the sector that I belong to, and the Gas Value Chain Sectorial Working Group. In the coming year, we will complete the tower block and workshop facility in the Squill Acquisition Center at Ehi-Omoike in Port Harcourt as part of our collaboration with PTDF. It is, however, pertinent to note that while the Nigerian content performance on engineering as one of the top 3 spend areas is above the 70% target, there is need to focus on the other 2 areas, namely fabrication and procurement of materials, if we are to realize the 70% target by the year 2027. That is why we are keen to ensure that the established in-country fabrication yards are utilized for sanctioned projects such as the NLNG Train 7, as well as drive local manufacturing of goods and services as chemicals, hardwares, spares, accessories, and other consumables via our commercial venture partnership and our oil and gas industrial parks. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, we believe we are on track towards the 70% Nigerian content target, but we will need the support of all industry stakeholders to make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me use this moment to express my gratitude to the various stakeholders in the National Assembly, NNPC, NAPIMS, operators, service providers, members of the OPTS, PCTS, PETAN, OCTAN, of which the PETAN chairman is here and the OCTAN chairman is here, sister agencies, civil society organizations, the media, and several others for the support provided to the board in the last 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I think my speech has taken enough time to explain what we promised to deliver, what we have delivered, and what we intend to deliver in the year 2022. Thank you very much for listening.
I am honored to convey our goodwill to this occasion, marking the 10th annual Practical Nigerian Content Forum. The Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act is a very significant tool for developing indigenous capacity. NCDMB, our host today, was established as the catalyst for that act. Over the last 10 years, the board has increased in-country value retention and creation, and also funded or incentivized the Nigerian oil and gas industry. As we begin to write a new chapter with the implementation of the PIA, NCDMB remains a very critical stakeholder. Ladies and gentlemen, I will therefore use this opportunity to solicit the cooperation and support of the board towards the fulfillment of the objectives of the PIA. Let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by offering NMDPRA's assurances of an enduring partnership with NCDMB. And so once again, I congratulate the board on its achievements thus far. And I thank you for listening.
Barrister Ehi-Omoike, ED Distribution System, Storage and Retail Infrastructure, and he was representing Farouk Ahmed. Please, a better round of applause for him. And of course, from in-room, we'll move again to virtual. And this time I'll be inviting a man who played a significant role in the passage of the PIA, significant and important role. And he is no other than the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Mele Kiari.
I know that 11 years ago, we established NCDMB to drive active participation of Nigerians and Nigerian business in all spheres of oil and gas projects. Since then, the industry has continued to witness growth of local competencies across the oil and gas value chain. I'm sure that events like this are very important in demonstrating how various NCDMB initiatives help us achieve local capacity, thereby providing employment spaces that were once dominated by expatriates in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. We're seeing how changes in global health and economic conditions like the one brought forward by COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global supply chain, affected movements of people and put many projects on hold. This should remind us how important it is for a nation to domicile critical skills and capacity that will keep the lifeline of the economy flourishing at all times. Needless to say that there is a great energy transition that is going on. Yes, we have always advocated there should be just energy transition, but the fact still remains that our business will be greatly impacted by the ongoing transition journey. But it also creates opportunity for our country and for our industry. Every oil and gas company in the world is transitioning into energy company so that value can be shifted to the new way of doing things and new way of putting the value on the table. And this, no doubt, the efforts by the NCDMA will key into this. As a matter of fact, local capacity don't just mean ability to do engineering works and construction in the oil and gas industry, actually it's in the oil and energy sector. And this, I believe that my brother Cindy will take a new look at how we move forward so that the capacity that we have today can now be migrated to the new way of doing things. As we all may be aware, and I'm sure it's a very informed audience, that companies are changing, countries are changing, and they're doing things very, very differently. Demands are changing, but ultimately, we need to position ourselves in a place where 10 years' time to come, we'll be in a position to say that yes, this industry is really supporting our local capacity and helping us to transit into the new situation. It is very important to reflect on the tremendous benefits that the PIA brings to the Nigerian oil and gas industry. And my brother Komolafe has also mentioned a few things around this. But we all know that creating a competitive investment climate will bring about multiplicity of investments across the value chain, generate millions of employments to Nigerians who, by the consistent effort of the GTF and the NCDMA, have already acquired the requisite expertise to support the growth of the industry. This is indeed a positive coincidence. The world is increasingly becoming concerned about carbon emissions associated with operations of the oil and gas industry. It is our belief that NCDMA will pay priority attention to the local technologies and capacity in low carbon operations as companies transit to the carbon neutral operation. Needless to be precise what I've said earlier. NPC is proud to be a strong partner of development of the Nigerian content capacity, and we're proud of the remarkable achievements of the NCDMA over the last 11 years. And of course, NCDMA will continue to count with your own company, the NNPC, the company owned by the over 200 million Nigerians. We are changing, we are transforming, we are becoming a limited liability company which will be governed by laws of karma and provisions of the PIA, which insists that we must do business in a very different manner, accountable to your shareholders, accountable to Nigerians, and also doing things in the way that is completely commercial. I know that the NCDMA will support this company to grow so that it will deliver value to Nigeria, who will be the principal agent of all of us in the oil and gas sector, and our continuous collaboration will have no limits. And of course, continue to count on the NCDMA to support the NNPC in this growth. As we are all aware, NNPC business covers almost 80% of all the transactions in the industry, either directly or indirectly. And that means that those transactions can be localized in partnership with the NCDMA, as we're already doing, so that we can achieve the 7% Nigerian content as enumerated by Engineer Sydney. Beyond this, Excellency and very distinguished audience, I'd like to thank you for the honor to deliver this goodwill message, and we'll continue to work with the NCDMA to deliver the value to our country. Thank you very much. Please.
His Excellency Chief Timipre Silva, Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources, is unable to join us, and the ES told us why earlier. But representing him is, I've just been informed, a traditional ruler in his own right, His Royal Highness, Dr. Famous Eseidua, the Amana Nowe of Agalagiri, I hope I got that correct, and also Director Human Resources of the Ministry. Let's welcome him as he speaks on behalf of the Honorable Minister.
It is correct to say that from the little beginning in 2010, the Practical Nigerian Content has become a permanent feature in the calendar of the Nigerian oil and gas industry. PNC therefore presents a platform for stakeholders to meet annually to take stock of Nigerian content performance, discuss challenges, and chart fresh courses of action for industry growth and sustainability. By extension, also, hosting this event annually in Yenagoa serves to honor the history of Nigeria and the Bayelsa State in particular as a cradle of oil and gas production in Nigeria. I sincerely hope that this conference will continue to evolve in the coming years and to attract participants from all parts of Africa and beyond to exchange ideas and show experience in local content practice. The government of President Muhammadu Buhari has also adopted a strategic action to immortalize Oloibiri and industrialize Bayelsa State through the establishment of the Oil and Gas Museum and Research Center in Oloibiri, currently being developed jointly by NCDMB, the Petroleum Technology Development Fund (PTDF), Shell Petroleum Development Company (SPDC), and the Bayelsa State government. Other strategic actions by the federal government to industrialize Bayelsa State include the various oil and gas investments now crystallizing in various parts of the state, like the Nigerian Oil and Gas Parks Scheme, the Brass Petroleum Products Terminal Limited, the Brass Fertilizer Project and Methanol Plant, the Gas Processing Plant, the Modular Refinery, and so on. It is worrying to note that PNC has continued to grow every year because NCDMB has consistently broken new grounds with the implementation of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act. The great accomplishments of the board, as well as the activities of other key agencies under the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, have positioned our ministry as a top performer in the presidential scorecard as assessed by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation recently. I therefore enjoin you to continue with your commendable growth and remain focused on the implementation of the Nigerian Content 10-year strategic roadmap to cultivate Nigerian content to the targeted level of 70% by the year 2027. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me dwell briefly on the theme of this year's conference, driving Nigerian content in the dawn of the Petroleum Industry Act. This theme is apt, timely, and symbolic. There is no doubt that President Muhammadu Buhari has booked his place on the bright side of history, particularly of the Nigerian oil and gas industry, in ensuring the passage and signing of the Petroleum Industry Bill into law, that is the PIA 2021, after over 20 years of debates and disagreements on the shape and contents of the law. Of a fact, signing the bill into law in August 2021 was a watershed event in the annals of Nigeria's petroleum industry, which has literally rolled away the cloud of uncertainty that has hindered investments into the industry for so long. It was against the above backdrop that we took quick and decisive steps by establishing the board of the NNPC Limited, constituted the management teams of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority. All of them have spoken to you earlier. It is expected that with the PIA in place and supported by the enabling structures to ease doing business, new final investment decisions should begin to happen rapidly in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. With over $42 billion worth of investment agreements signed by various Nigerian entities at the just concluded Intra-African Trade Fair in South Africa, there is strong optimism that so many new projects will soon commence in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. Indeed, we need new projects in the industry to increase our production, grow national revenues, engage the local supply chain, create more employment for Nigerians, and promote national security. We are proud of the FPSO integration facility that was developed in Lagos at the back of Total's Engina Deepwater project. This facility is the only one in sub-Saharan Africa. We eagerly look forward to getting a similar legacy project from the ongoing Nigeria LNG Train 7 project. In the same token, the federal government is committed to support and promote investments in gas as Nigeria's transition fuel. I therefore congratulate NCDMB once again and DMG for putting together this highly appetizing workshop. May I use this medium also to thank the Bayelsa State government for co-hosting this event, particularly by providing the enabling environment. I sincerely look forward to receiving the communique at the end of the conference. Thank you, and God bless us all.
We call him the miracle governor. He is the governor of Bayelsa State. Distinguished Senator Doye Diri.
In my time at the National Assembly, I came to appreciate deeply its motivations and objectives. Essentially, local content is about securing direct and indirect opportunities for employment and procurement to homegrown companies, while at the same time fostering the development of local skills, technology transfer, and the use of local manpower and local manufacturing in capital projects. Therefore, in making my brief remarks on the appropriately themed concept today, which is driving Nigerian content in the new dawn of the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA. Let me state for the records that I am conscious of the fact that forward-thinking businesses engage people and vendors for capacity rather than charity. To be competitive, local companies need empowered workforce, equipped and able to provide services and value at the highest level of demand. In that awareness, therefore, Bayelsa State is establishing top-quality vocational science and technical colleges. And this is done in all our local government areas. We will strategically invest heavily in the requisite equipment and staff, and believing that our brother and the NCDMB will be part of this process. If local content must lead to local commitment, we must consider the conundrum that is captured in a question posed in Psalm 11, verse 3. If the foundations be destroyed, what can be righteous to do? The strength of a building lies in its foundation. The main purpose of the foundation is to hold the structure and above it and keep it upright. The Nigerian Content Law and the recently passed law, the Petroleum Industry Act, are analogous to the foundation, and therefore, if the objective of these acts, these laws, will be attained, it is highly essential in discussing the theme for the forum to be mindful of some fundamental realities, including peace and security, which remain to irreducible minimums to the survival and success of businesses, to ensure peace and security for a conducive business climate, to thrive and to create multiplier effects for massive growth in the Niger Delta, the essence of local contentment must be vigorously pursued. Given the provision of the Petroleum Industry Act, which has gotten the host communities, by and large the entire Niger Delta, and in particular Bayelsa State, to a large extent unsure of their place in the equitable sharing of their resources, and one sure way of evolving a gratified local content equation is for the board to activate the tenets of this law in engaging the oil majors appropriately, to have their own offices as we keep demanding at all opportunities, to have their offices here in Bayelsa State and in the Niger Delta. I know the clapping will be very low because I'm talking to the industry majors. I plead with you that we are doing everything within our purview to ensure that there is peace and there is security for you to actually come over to Bayelsa and other states of the Niger Delta where your businesses are located, and engage the local businesses more, and consequently take a lot of our unemployed youths off the streets. I was pleased to hear my brother and my friend announcing over 4,000 youths being trained in GSM repairs. I'd like to congratulate you and thank you for that feat. But like Oliver Twist, we'll also ask that you extend that training to the Niger Delta region, and in particular to Bayelsa State. Charity, they say, begins from home. We are in no way opposed to training of youths outside our region or outside our state. That's why I said I was happy to hear over 4,000 youths from Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara. That's a good feat. All we request is that you extend also to the Niger Delta region, and in particular, the state that is hosting you. It is the avowed agenda of this administration to bring shared prosperity to the people of the state. And we know too well that unrest is not conducive for business and businesses to prosper. And that is why throughout my campaign to be governor, I have advocated for a Bayelsa State that is non-violent. I have advocated for a Bayelsa State that is reconciliatory. I've advocated for a Bayelsa State that is accountable and capable of rising and competing with any other state. And it is my keen interest to continue to advocate for peace and a change of strategy by all of us who are Bayelsans to ensure that we attract investors and businesses to thrive in Bayelsa State. I'm happy to say we have largely succeeded in doing just that. The long, fractionalized communities that before now could not be seen as brothers and sisters. Today, the story is changing, and our vision remains to improve the quality of life of every Bayelsan and build a state that we all will be proud of, irrespective of our political affiliations, religion, or local government areas. We belong to Bayelsa State. We belong to Nigeria. And it is our collective move and responsibility that will build our state and build our country. While we continue to seek your support and partnership to provide security across the state, we solicit your esteemed goodwill and understanding of companies, in particular the international oil companies operating in our state, to affect our communities, to affect our local government areas, to affect our state. Another area that I must fully occupy your thoughts with and drive the narrative is the need to help build the local environment that will in due course also support your businesses. And that means and brings me to one of my key programs that I've pursued for some time now. And I was happy to hear the Executive Secretary talk so much about brass and their 10-year plan that includes brass and a lot of activities to be cited in brass. I'm talking of no other program and project that is in my agenda and in my heart than the Nembe Brass Road. All of these projects that you have outlined to be cited in brass, there is no road to brass, the headquarters of brass local government area, where Nigerian AGIP has operated for decades. The Nembe Brass Road is a metaphor for how the indigenes and host communities have been overlooked in the allocation of resources, even when we collectively stand to gain more from collaborating. We have made written presentations. I have personally visited the villa. I've personally visited the federal government on behalf of the people of Brass and on behalf of my state. And I'm very, very sure that collaborating with the federal government, collaborating with the IOCs, like Obama will say, we can take a road from Nembe to Brass. Yes, we can. That's what I expect from you. Yes, we can. Thank you. Happily, recently the federal government, through the executive order known as Executive Order 7 of 2019, on the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme, generously indicated it will be constructing a number of roads in various locations in the country. Given the tremendous value of the Nembe Brass Road and its capacity to cut the cost of operations of oil companies and significantly and stimulate the economy of Bayelsa State, I hereby appeal to the federal government once again to extend this same kind gesture to the Nembe Brass Road. In particular, I'd like to call on my friends who joined us virtually here, Mele Kyari, that the NNPC should look towards Bayelsa State and look towards the Nembe Brass Road. I am persuaded that if we all, as we gather here, follow through the presentations that has already been made and that will be made, I am sure that Nigeria will be a better place. I am sure that the gas and oil industry will be transformed. I wish you very fruitful deliberations, and I look forward to your support, and I look forward to innovative ideas on how to bring local contentment to local content.
That's how much we can take on this 10th Practical Nigerian Content. I'm Ehi-Omoike. Thank you for watching.